doing for time? Sitting here? Okay, all right. I always seem to be the one standing between either lunch or cocktails. So I will move this along. All right, so let's just take a quick look at the size and opportunity of the retirement market, the current problems that exist, and now the future, which will be the solutions. So I'll break out, but approximately in the United States, the retirement market is a $14 trillion market. There are over 50 million individual retirement accounts. Here's something for those that are going after accredited investors. If you take household incomes of $200,000 or greater, they make up 80% of the value of IRAs. Less than 1% are investing through self-directed IRAs, and there's a reason for that. We'll get to it. And then this is really will be the staggering number. More than 99% then of crowdfunding made up of equity, peer-to-peer, and real estate crowdfunding are doing so in tax-efficient, taxable cash accounts. There we go. Okay, so just a quick breakdown. This last year was a pivotal moment. For the first time in history, the individual retirement market outsized the defined contribution market, or 401k. It's now 7.6 for IRAs versus 6.8, and there's a very important reason for that. It's the retiring baby boomers of 10,000 a day are rolling over their 401ks into IRAs. Last year, $450 billion came into the market for IRAs looking for a place to invest, at the top of the equity market, at the bottom of the fixed income market. I think this is probably the most astounding number. For every $1 in personal checkings and savings, and I mean investment accounts, not money that's targeted for mortgages or groceries, but investable dollars, there's $12 in retirement accounts. All right, so I think we've got it upside down in this industry. Again, we're all chasing 99% of tax and efficient taxable cash accounts, and nobody is really going after the retirement market. That's 12 times the size. But there's a reason for that. The problem, obviously, again, there's a need for self-directed IRAs in this world of private equity and private debt, because the custodians, like E-Trade and Schwab and Merrill Lynch and Morgan Stanley, will only custody publicly traded assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. So number one is the problem. The problem is the process. The underlying software that drives the self-directed IRA custodians is built on banking software that's 40 years old. The second, there's a three-step process of opening the account, funding the account, and then directing the investment. That is all done manually. The average time is 4, 6, 8 weeks to accomplish this. There's no integration. There's no API between the custodian and the platforms. So that means right now the customer has to go to the platform, sign up, leave that platform, empty shopping cart, right? And then they have to open up a second account 4, 6, 8 weeks later, and then they have to try and get the two talking to each other, which they don't like to do. The second is pricing. So self-directed IRA custodians are non-fiduciary trust companies under state banking charter. That means that they don't take a piece of the transaction. So their business model is based on annual fees. Okay, $50 to open the account, $200, $300, $400, $500 per asset per year, and then transaction fees of $100. So you're looking at normally around $2,000 or more to do that. With Title III coming, with real estate crowdfunding starting at $500 to $1,000, it just doesn't work economically. Okay. Promotion is probably one of the most overpromised, under-delivered. There's a few platforms out there saying, hey, we'll put your logo on our platform and we can market to our 50, 60, 70,000 clients. And I caution you, you don't want to do that. That's a prohibited transaction under IRS Code 4975. They're giving preferential pricing, so they're indirectly benefiting. A self-directed IRA custodian is a prohibited partner to the platforms. So I don't think any of the platforms want to draw the scrutiny of the IRS. What you need is a third party to do that. And then lastly, this is where the industry will really scale and why it hasn't to date, is the assets under management. So if you're with an RIA or an independent advisor and you want to make an investment into one of these assets, you need to leave that firm and you need to move those assets under management to a self-directed IRA custodian. And so to date, it's not really being done. So what's needed is a technology solution that will allow the assets to be held away at that broker-dealer. What's out there currently? So there are a few firms that say, well, you know, we've automated the system. And so if you go to some of the platforms, they have a landing page. And a landing page is not fintech. A landing page is where you enter name, address, social, beneficiaries. That data is captured by the platform. And then you have to turn around. One of the biggest platforms says, I love this, complete the application online and then print out the 60 pages and mail it. And that's truly what's happening. So you have to mail those documents to the platform, who reviews them, who then mails them to the self-directed IRA custodian. Okay, so it's still based upon the underlying 40-year-old legacy IT systems. All right, so that is the problem then that needs to be solved if you could hold those assets away at a broker-dealer. And again, I'll move pretty quickly on this. I don't want this to be or become a commercial, but essentially IRA Services has founded the solution by offering a cloud-based, API-driven white label platform that will sit and reside right on the platform. And then all of the client data is transmitted via API right to the custodian, who behind the scenes completes the three-part transaction. Scalable, 250,000 accounts per hour can be opened, and for the first time, you don't have to have a separate retirement account with a self-directed IRA custodian and then your retirement account assets over here. You can hold all of your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and then crowdfunding, real estate, or peer-to-peer market in one retirement account. And then a great quote, I think, from Peter Hinson: organizations need to become networks themselves. It's the only way they'll be able to equal the speed of the complex adaptive systems that the market have become. And we've been told, 3 years ago, I started the effort of a landing page, signed on the top 50 equity, real estate, and peer-to-peer crowdfunding platforms, and every one of them was a miserable failure. It didn't work. We did the landing page, but the rest of it was manual. Didn't work. And as I like to say, in the peer-to-peer side, a good friend Ron Suber of Prosper said, you know, until your industry can automate and integrate, retirement accounts will be an accommodation at best. And then he went on to qualify and say, but we believe 50% of our business, at least, should be retirement accounts. So, thank you.
Okay, sure. Right. So a crowdfund platform will connect through your software to deal with your database of customers at IRA Services.
So that's a great question. So again, there is a Chinese wall, if you will, between the clients of the self-directed IRA custodians and the platform. So the platform still has to market, but when they market now to retirement accounts, they have an automated solution that will help the process.
Okay, to qualify what you're saying, all retirement accounts or only IRA Services?
All retirement accounts.
Okay,
yeah.
Does this in any way speed up the, let's say the IRAs at Fidelity? Does it speed up the amount of time that the money from Fidelity comes in so that me, the syndicator, can get the money real fast?
Yes, it's automated up front. It's captured at the platform, but we use the ACH to just wire it right over rather than wait for that manual.
Yeah, but what about Fidelity sending the money to you? Does that process get sped up?
Yes.
It does.
Yes. Yeah. And that usually was the biggest snag, because it was paper driven. It was wet signatures. It was medallion stamps. It was up to the resigning custodian, and then if they forgot a date or a medallion stamp. So we've automated all of that. That's correct. So, you know, the Fidelities, the Schwabs, after Dodd-Frank, they used to partner with self-directed IRA custodians to accommodate high net worth clients, and since then, they won't touch it. They'll lose the assets under management. They have a list of 4 or 5 custodians that they say, go open up the account, you're on your own.
So, how do I sign up? I mean, how can I do this as an investor?
So as a retail investor, if you are going to work with one of the platforms, we're in discussions and signing up almost all the platforms right now.
So I sign up with you through the platform as opposed to coming to your website?
You just right on the platform. When you're opening up, let's say a Prosper IRA, you'll be going there, and you won't even know that this is the technology that's powering it.
It just
So
says
we just-
invest now, and you enter your information, processed. No leaving, no opening up a second account, no back and forth.
Quick question. You just recently did a report about this particular.
Yes.
When somebody wants to, the audience, where are they going to go? Which website they go and get this report?
Sure, and it's actually on the papers there. It has a little QR code that you could click on to get it, but you could also just go to darylaalbright.com. It's all splashed on my homepage there, and you can link right to it, download it. It's free.
What's the name of the report?
It's a long name. The Renaissance of the Retail Investor, and oh God, I can't even remember the whole title. It's on
It's in darylaalbright.com.
.com. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other question?
So if I was an investor and I want to be able to access the other funds, but want to keep them separate, like how does it appear in that account? Is it as in like, are they all considered a part of one pool, or do I keep the different money separate on that platform? How does that work?
You have a choice. So you can either move money over strictly for investments in that, or you can do what's called in-asset transfer or in-kind transfer, where you can bring everything over, where you can see everything. It's your choice. You no longer have the restriction, though, that they are separate. You can bring them together if you'd like.
Well, thank you, Daryl. Thank you,
Thanks.
Jane.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, audience. We're going to take a break for lunch.